Batman issue 5, written by Tom King and art by Avi.
6.
Sorry. So it's still. You know
Fix your
what?
numbers.
I'm going to fix all my numbers right now, folks, because I'm going to keep saying the
You
wrong
do that.
numbers. I'm
Yeah.
going to keep saying the wrong numbers. Matt, why don't you start off by telling them what you thought of Batman
Yeah.
issue 6?
So this focuses primarily on Gotham Girl and her being affected by Psycho Pirate and the death of her brother, which is a double whammy of emotion. Because you feel even if she wasn't affected by Psycho Pirate, the way that her brother died is pretty tragic, even by
Yeah.
Gotham standards.
Yeah,
So
right away she's like talking to him as if he's there, like
yeah,
and not that people talk to people who have died, like that's like a coping mechanism, but this is like really this is constant. She's constantly in a conversation with him, like she's
with him.
like Dexter or something. Like it's
Yeah. Well, and it just and I think as good as Batman's been, I think this has been the standout issue because it really is a standalone. And I think Tom King excels at these standalone contained stories.
I think this is the most emotional issue, and I think the emotions played
Yeah.
really well. I think
That could be it too.
yeah, I think well, the art's very good as well. Actually, I want to point out the art by
Yeah.
Evan Reyes. I mean, Finch has
Yeah.
been doing well, but I think some of the art here was great. When we get to my favourite panel of the week at the end of the show, it will be from this book. But the emotion is Batman's like because there's two exchanges that sort of mirror each other. Because Batman keeps responding with "I know," because Duke's in the back. He was like, "Oh, you're going to have to stop her from using her powers, or she's going to die. You need to help her." He's like, "I
I
know,
know.
I know," and I'm saying that as if he sounds like annoyed that he's having to answer it, but it's not that. It's I know, like,
Yeah.
and I love the exchange Batman has with Alfred, where he's like, after my parents died, how did you help me? And Alfred, in his catty way that he's been doing all this series, is like, well, to be
Yes.
fair, Master Bruce, you do go out at night dressed as a bat and beat criminals to a bloody pulp. I don't think I helped you. That
Yeah.
was a good
I
line.
just yeah, I love that out of Alfred too is he's a ball buster. Which is kind of the first time we've kind of seen a ball buster in Alfred, so that's great. And then there's that at the end, they mirror the I know
Yeah, yeah.
at the and I just the way that it goes through that and they even set up Monster Man with Hugo Strange.
Oh yeah,
Like they're like
we'll get to that in a minute
okay,
with Waller, but yeah, sticking with the Gotham
yeah,
Girl stuff. I like
uh-huh,
that scene with Batman because he's like, all right, I'm taking off the cowl, I'm going to say who I am, and I'm going to
yeah,
relate to her on a human level, right? Because up until now, like her and her brother idolized Batman, and it was all
yeah.
Batman this, Batman that, and like I like that he's like, no, the only way I can fix this is by being Bruce Wayne. Like I need to relate to her on the level of
He needs to
loss,
be
you know.
yeah, he needs to be a human, not
Yeah.
a superhero. And I like that.
And that was really cool. It was a really emotional scene. I thought it worked really well, and it felt very in character for Batman as well to do it. Because as much
Yeah.
as he will keep his secret identity, I feel like if stuff's going down, like if there's a moment where he thinks the only way I'm going to save people here is to reveal who I am, he'll do it in a heartbeat. I don't think for a
Yeah.
second, and before we get to the end, I want to point out the fun villains that Gotham
Yeah.
Girl's taken out throughout this issue. I love how excited Kite Man is for being Kite Man. He's like,
Yeah.
Kite Man, I'm Kite Man,
Yeah.
yeah. Like he's
And
so
out the
excited.
window.
Yeah,
And she even says something about Kite Man, doesn't she?
I think so.
Like, yeah,
There's Kite Man, there's Blimp Man, and then there's well, I don't know if he's called Blimp
the
Man, but
pirate.
and there's the
Yeah.
pirate, yeah.
Oh, that pirate scene. That's another thing that was, this guy is had a complete mental break and thinks he's a pirate, and he has basically kidnapped all his adult brothers and dressed them up as Batman and is making them walk the plank of this imaginary pirate ship, which is a 10-story building.
Hmm.
For being Batman and not telling him. And it's just like I'm so used to the Joker brand of, nah, this guy knows what he's doing, but he's still like, I'm trying to find the right word for Joker.
This guy's more mentally ill, whereas the Joker's more
Yeah,
a psychopath, but is in complete control of
yeah,
what
there
he's
we go.
doing.
And
Yeah.
so just to see Batman come up against that and Gotham Girl and how they deal with it, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It was a really good issue. There was a lot of nice. I mentioned the art by Evan Reyes. I thought there was a lot of good coloring. The moment where she flies away, and she realizes she's caught in the bat signal. I thought that was a particularly gorgeous moment, and just when she's crying later on and he's hugging her, like the art was really on point. The shading and the lighting was all very good. But yeah, so this all leads to the final part of the book where Batman goes to Amanda Waller because he's trying to track Psycho Pirate because he realizes the only way to fix Gotham Girl is to get Psycho Pirate to fix whatever he did because he's made her crazy. And Amanda Waller's basically, well, our intelligence has told us that Hugo Strange, once he was finished with Psycho Pirate, sold him off in exchange for Venom. And you're like, oh, I know where this is going.
Yes.
And she's like, yeah, so Bane's got him. And I was thinking this arc after Monster Man was going to be an Arkham Asylum, just because it mentioned a prison, but it didn't mention what prison. But no, we're going to Mexico.
Santa Prisca.
Yeah.
Well, the Caribbean.
Is that the Caribbean?
Santa Prisca. Yeah. It's an island. And Bane, Psycho Pirates whipped up the prison.
That's my lack of Caribbean knowledge there, folks.
That's all right.
But no, so you're going to break in, and then it sets up the whole idea that she's going to make him build his own Suicide Squad for this arc. And it's funny because we know that the Justice League discover the Suicide Squad in the event at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if by the end of the arc is how Batman learns about the real Suicide Squad.
Yes. And let me just reiterate that the reason I get so excited about this is not just the Monster Man because it's Batman vs. Kaiju, but this is when I came into comics, the type of stuff DC was doing. There was a synergy between the titles, and like we see Hugo Strange pop up early, but he doesn't really affect the story. And now we find out that he sold off Psycho Pirate to Bane, and then Batman's going to Amanda Waller, and like we all know these stories are moving forward, and it's not just for Batman; it's going to be a tie-in to all this other stuff, and I love that connected world.
Yeah, I mean, this is totally setting up both. Because obviously Monster Men's next. The next issue of Batman's the first issue of the Monster Men crossover, and Nightwing also kind of thematically set that up as well. Because there was a monster in this week's issue, which we'll get to when we get to it. But so that also feels very synergetic. Is that a word? Yeah. Synergetic?
Yeah, if it's not, it is now. I mean, synergy really wasn't a word until the 90s, so...
There you go. If that's not a word, I coin it, I copyright it. Pay me whenever you want to use it, please. Thank you.
And you guys all know how I feel about Batman, so for me to praise this issue and the direction of the book, that's major, because I don't try to go in and saying that I'm not going to like this, but I'm just like, okay, impress me is my main thing, and Tom King has, because we're not getting a Bat-God. I was very worried with the first issue, with the way he handled the plane crash. We were going to get Bat-God, and since that first issue, it's been the complete opposite, where it's almost Batman more on a human level than anything. So,
but it's okay if once in a while he does something crazy like.
Well, once in a while is fine. Yeah, once in a while is fine, but you don't want it to be every. And I felt like Snyder had fell into that trap. So it's just refreshing to see this level.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Batman issue 6. Very great stuff.